5 things you need to consider when planning on going on a road trip in your Tesla. So the first and most important thing is checking your car tire pressure and making sure there's no visible damage on your tires before taking a long road trip. So to check the tire pressure, you can go into your car menu and go to service. You would be able to see the car tire pressure. If you have the music menu on, then you can drag it twice to see the tire pressure. The recommended tire pressure is 43 psi from Tesla, but I recommend you try 45 psi. That seems to work better for me. It's a bit more subtle ride. It could be noisy if you go up the tire pressure, and the recommended tire pressure 43 is when the tires are cold. So I've been driving my car for a bit, and that's why it's showing 46 psi. Having a car tire pressure is not just for your safety of your vehicle, but also it impacts the mileage that you get out of your battery. So it is highly recommended to ensure that the tire pressure is between the recommended ranges, and hence that's the first thing you should be checking. The second thing to do while doing your road trip in your Tesla is enjoy the drive and try to use the autopilot if you don't use it currently, because that's one of the features which allows Teslas to sort of give you that peace of mind of driving within the lanes. Especially it works great on highways, and it can give you great confidence on the system if you try it. And highways or freeways are the best way to actually build that trust in the system. So I would recommend use your autopilot. To use the autopilot, you have to do is hit this right stalk twice while you're driving on the freeway or anywhere there's a marked lanes. Your autopilot could be enabled, and freeways are the best place to do it and try it. The third thing that you need to consider while going on a road trip is to make sure that you have enough range in your Tesla to go back and forth from the destination you choose. If not, use Better Route Planner or your car's navigation system to see if the battery in your car is enough. Let's assume I'm just going to the Gold Coast Surfers Paradise. So I can clearly see I'll reach my destination with 63%. And if I have to add a stop to it and I want to go back to, let's say, Tesla showroom in Brisbane, and I'll reach Tesla at 47%, which gives me enough percentage of battery for me to not worry. But so let's say we're going to Sydney Opera House. So as the car said, you would reach your destination to Sydney after stopping at those 3 supercharging stations. If I were you, I would still take 5 to 10% extra range with me on each supercharger by charging your car a bit more than it's recommended by your Tesla app, because there's a lot of other factors you need to consider when you're going on road trips. It's not just like you're going from one place to another without stopping. There's going to be a climate change. There's going to be, if it's raining, the range drops quite drastically, as well as if the freeway speed is more than 100 and you're driving on 110, then the range could take a hit as well, which we showed something similar in the last video where we drove from Gold Coast to Brisbane, and it was 29% battery suggestion that the car gave, that we can reach with 29%, but we ended up reaching Brisbane at 26%. And those were ideal conditions. It wasn't raining, it wasn't too windy, and even then there was like 3% of difference. So going on a longer road trips, I'd recommend you take 10% buffer on your car recommendation. If your car thinks you'll reach there with 10%, I would say maybe you need to charge before you actually plan your road trip then. I think the fourth point to consider when taking a road trip in your Tesla is making sure that you are carrying all the cables that you have that you might need, because unlike the fuel cars, if you decide to take a detour or go somewhere else, you would need all the cables and accessories that you can, just in case of emergency. If you end up on a sort of location where you have your chargers on the way, but what if the superchargers are all busy and you end up continuing and you end up at a spot the chargers are broken or something, so you make sure that you carry your accessories if possible, and that just gives you another peace of mind, I would say. And let's move on to the next one. And I believe the fifth part is just make sure you enjoy your road trip, and enjoy the fact that you didn't pay that much as you would have paid for fuel if you're driving around in a non-electric car. And make sure that you are actually enjoying the part, and by following the first 4 points you would be able to relieve some of pressure off that range anxiety, and hopefully get you better in the sense of enjoying your car more than worrying about how much range it gets, and the benefits of owning an EV, especially a Tesla, because all the other EVs do give you that benefit of paying less, but the Tesla's the amount of technology that it has, it just makes the road trip fun as well as a bit less tiring for myself. Because if I was driving in a non-Tesla vehicle, although it does have adaptive cruise control, it's not to the extent of reliability that I get from them. And I just find myself driving more than if I'm driving a Tesla. I do trust the systems more, and that eventually leads to me getting less fatigue and tired after a long road trip.